morning, Tammie.
Good morning.
Good morning, Tracy.
Good morning.
It's great to have you with us here. It's a big day, in this city, and with the TT strike being averted. So I think all of us are kind of, again, breathing that sigh of relief. But it doesn't just stop there in terms of the goings-on in our governmental systems.
Yes.
Big cabinet shuffle yesterday. I was texting you yesterday. I was like, okay. Doug Ford's making some big changes right before they take a big break.
Yeah.
So let's get into that, Tammie. A lot of movement, starting with Stephen Lecce, someone education minister a lot of us are very familiar with, no longer in that spot.
No, and so that was a shock because he's been the education minister for 5 years now, since 2019. And it's someone who, I don't know, can you even name the last education minister? This is the thing, that portfolio is not typically filled by a minister for that long of a period of time. Not since like Kathleen Wynne can I think of an education minister.
That's what I was going to say.
Really,
she's the last one I remember as education minister.
Right, because she was in there for so long. So it was a surprise to see Stephen Lecce now shifted out of education. He's taken on the energy and electrification portfolio now.
Okay.
He's done a swap with Todd Smith, who had the energy portfolio for some time as well, and is now in education. So we've seen that swap. We have a new long-term care minister as well. This is I don't know, now I have to do some counting here, but speaking of portfolios that change hands fairly often, long-term care has done so since the pandemic quite often. So we've seen a shift in long-term care like every term, pretty much every year.
Right.
So, so we have a brand new long-term care minister, Stephen Clark as well. So Steve Clark was the housing minister during the Greenbelt scandal. He resigned as housing minister and he resigned as the House Speaker as well, but he's taken back the role of government House Speaker. So he's back in there.
It leads you to believe, though, if someone resigned because there was controversy about a decision that was made and they sort of got out of the picture, them coming back in, do you think anyone's going to have something to say about that? Like, was that a sneaky way to get someone back in that was shrouded in a bit of controvery?
He's not taking on the housing ministry again, but
it's a different ministry.
But he's back in as House Speaker. So it's just, it had been just over a year, I guess, since his resignation, and
seems
now
strategic.
He is back in
That's
there.
all I'm saying.
Yeah. You let the heat die down, maybe.
The buds are back.
Yes.
Also, this is now the largest cabinet in Ontario's history, the most ministers. This is now at 36 people.
36
which is, I think something of note. Also of note, those MPPs are about to go on a very lengthy summer break. Until October.
So the House has risen about a week earlier than planned. It was supposed to be next Friday, June 14th. So today is actually the last day, so a week earlier. But they're not coming back until October 21st.
They're not going to come back and sit until October 21st.
Yes, exactly.
They still, I would hope, have ward business and constituent business to take care of throughout this time. But what, does it make you reconsider your job, Mayor?
School's out.
Are you thinking maybe MPP is sounding like a nice title?
MPP. I don't know. No, I mean, that is quite a significant break, and it really, it's of note. I think it's important to speak to it and have some awareness of it, because you're right. Work is still going on, but they're not sitting. And so, my understanding of that is that the changes in legislature cannot be made.
No.
And if you think of all the things that is going on right now that are really major hot button issues that realistically we're going to want some movement on before October.
Probably.
And if we think of the income earning and we compare that even to our own lives, it seems like a long break.
There are a lot of questions, I think, that come out of this, and both of those stories. Lecce was shrouded in so much controversy throughout the 5 years as education minister. To me, it's very curious that now is the time to flip him. Like, what are the conversations that happen behind the scenes that get ministers to take on different roles? Do they lobby for different ministries? And I think it's important to keep in mind, like, when someone's just flipping like that, what makes that a good fit?
Right, what's the expertise?
What's the expertise? And I know there are teams in place that are really guiding, the bureaucrats are guiding the agenda. But when these ministers are flipped, like I would love to just be like a fly on the wall. That's all, and see how all these inner workings happen behind the scenes, because it's curious to me how all these changes happen and when they happen.
And it determines what happens in our life in the city and this province.
And what doesn't happen and what doesn't get, passed in
And for
between
who?
now and October 21st.
Yeah.
And just to give you an idea, typically, the schedule will say we're coming back after Labor Day in September. But now we're rising a week early and not coming back until mid-October.
Right.
So,
Like after Thanksgiving.
yeah, like well after Thanksgiving.
These are all things to be very aware of because,
Interesting.
these are our governments.
That's right.
And so this is information to talk about amongst your dinner table, just kind of like we did on ours here on the couch. So glad you're with us here on a Friday. You're watching